What's up, guys? This is Nico from Limitless, and today we will take a look at a deck that you might already have seen being featured on our website in an article that Robin wrote, which is Lapras, Turbo Lapras, Aquabox, Lapra Canyon, however you want to call it. And first of all, I was pretty surprised that a lot of people brought up the deck after the release of Forbidden Light, because I personally didn't think the deck is or was good, because it didn't ever have success after 2 seasons ago, when the initial concept with like Seismitoad, but it was a different deck, so another water box kind of shenanigan. But now we're here with basically only Lapras as our attacker, and of course with Golisopod being very relevant, they never even had a chance to prove itself. And but yeah, now mainly Zoropod is gone, just because it has a very tough time to deal with something like Buzzrock. I mean, the matchup was already not in Zoropod's favor, but now it's even tougher because Buzzrock got even stronger. I mean, it's still okay against Malama, but they are just better Zoroark versions currently, so there's not really a reason to play Zoropod, which is very good for Lapras, because that means the main grass attacker is just gone, and that's obviously Lapras' weakness, grass. And Lapras itself is a very bulky 190 HP GX with 3 attacks. First attack is Collect. It's very good for the early game. Draw 3 cards. Usually the damage doesn't even matter too much, because you can just retreat into a different Lapras. How you can do that, I will show you in just a second. Then our main attack is going to be Blizzard Burn. 160. Can't attack next turn is basically, I mean, it's exactly the same attack like as Knuckle Impact, even has like the same energy costs, like the typing times 3. And Ice Beam GX does 100 damage, and the opponent's active is paralyzed. Sometimes you use it to buy yourself a turn, sometimes for a 2-shot, but most of the time you use it actually to get a KO when you don't have a switch option or another Lapras for next turn. So you can just use this Lapras again. Basically just like you would do with Buzzwole GX, when you use the GX attack for a regular KO, when you know, okay, I can and I most likely will use this Buzzwole next turn again. So you can just GX, I don't remember the name of Buzzwole's GX attack, but you definitely use the GX attack, and then next turn you just Knuckle Impact again. So that's basically Lapras. As I said, weakness is grass. Not too good when Golisopod is around, but currently it's not too much, so that's fine. Then as I said, we have a free retreat option, which is Manafi EX with its Aqua Tube ability, which allows any Pokemon of us that has a water energy attached to it to have free retreat. So you will always have a water energy attached to Lapras, or you want to have an energy attached to Lapras, because how else are you going to attack? So then you can just switch it out into another Lapras that you hopefully have on board. Attack doesn't matter too much. I mean, theoretically you could from time to time deal 60 and heal 30 from a Lapras against a Spreatic or something, but in general you will never attack with a Mineral Pump unless it gets you game, as you will see later on. So then of course we have Classic in any deck that doesn't play Zoroark, or in basically every deck that doesn't play Zoroark. We have Octillery, 2/2 line, Abyssal Hand, drop to 5, doesn't really need a lot of explaining. Then 1 Tapu Lele. So the general concept is basically the same as Buzzrock. As you will see, like, we have our main attacker, we have tags, which of course in Buzzwole are more, because you have Baby Buzzwole, you have a heavier Lycanroc line. But in general, it's just the same concept. You only have 1 Lele, because you don't really need a lot of Lele, especially because you don't have to go for stuff like turn 1 Bridget and stuff. So and of course you have Octillery on board, so there's no reason to search supporter after supporter each turn. So we only have 1 Lele. And last but not least, we have the Volcanion, which is the latest addition to the deck. And let me tell you one thing: when I started testing the deck, I was like, okay, Volcanion Prism, maybe it's nice for him, but this guy is actually super good. It's it's insane. If you don't believe me, try it yourself. I mean, first of all, we have Jet Geyser, the ability. We can discard a water energy from our hand, and then our opponent has to switch the active Pokemon, which is good to get waters in discard pile for Aqua Patch. And then we have Sauna Blast, which does 100 damage for 3 water energy and 20 damage to each opponent Pokemon. And yeah, that's a very, very relevant attack against Zoroark, because that allows you to just spread across the entire board and set up every Zoroark for 190 KO by Lapras, which is nice. And yeah, that's already our Pokemon. That's everything we have. And for our supporter cards, we purely have consistency. We have 4 Sycamore, 3 Cynthia, and 2 N as our draw supporter. And then, of course, for Guzma. Yeah. Then for our item cards, we don't really have a lot. We just have 4 Aqua Patch and 4 Max Elixir to be able to attach energies to our Lapras to power them up faster. Then, of course, we have Ultra Ball, which deck doesn't play Ultra Ball. Yeah, then 4 Choice Band to be able to draw into them consistently, to be able to deal the magic 190 HP, and I mean, it's basically the amount of damage we need in any matchup, because even in Zoroark we need 190 after we use Full Canyon. And 3 Float Zone. Some of you might wonder why we don't just go for a heavier Manafi line, for example, and Float Zone instead. When I first tried the deck, I didn't play Float Zone and 2 Manafi. Then I switched to 2 Manafi and 2 Float Zone, but then after even more testing, I switched to this split. As you may see, this is the exact same list that Robin played, but let me tell you, we both tested a lot of different lists, so that we came to the same conclusion, which about the final list, just shows that this is probably close to optimal, considering an Aqua Box. I know that Mark also has a very similar list, so I mean, I think you can trust us on this, and yeah, the list is very good and very consistent, which is the most important thing in any deck of this kind. And then, of course, to round up our item, supporter, trainer lineup, we have 3 Brooklet, just to get out everything except Lele and Auxiliary. And then, of course, we need a lot of energies, so we have 14 water energies, which is less than some decks played in the past, but more than most, so yeah, it's fine. And yeah, that's gonna be it for the list. If you want to have more in-depth information about any of these choices, you can always check out Robin's article on Limitless TCG. I will link it in the description. So if you're interested in the deck, definitely make sure to watch both the video and also read the article. It's completely free, so yeah, it's no downside, and it's a very interesting and fun deck. It's actually super fun. Maybe it doesn't look like it because it seems so simple, but yeah, it's very nice. So definitely make sure. And also, yeah, little disclaimer for the matches you will see now. I had to re-record my voice because for some reason OBS wasn't recording my mic during the recording process. So yeah, I definitely wanted to keep the games, especially the first one, so I just decided to still keep it full length, but re-record my voice. Thankfully, I'm just doing this like half an hour after, so I still remember the games pretty well, so it should still be a nice commentary. And yeah, I hope you enjoy the games. So our first game is going to be against Malama Ultranic Rosma, which is one of the most like play decks on the ladder. I actually had one stream where I faced, like, in 12 games I played against like 11 Malama Ultranic Rosmas, so that's actually an insane amount of decks like of the same type. I mean, or literally the same deck. Yeah. And as you can see, our opponent has a mulligan, which I will gladly take with a starting hand like this. And I can already tell you, this hand is not getting a lot better anytime soon. So yeah, He has the turn 1 Bridget, natural Bridget, which is, I would say, pretty lucky, because most of the time these decks only play 1 Bridget. So having the 1 Bridget in your starting end is pretty good, I would say. Yeah, as you see, choice band is not really what I want. So yeah, we're just gonna attach here, and of course bench Manafi as well, because if Volcanic gets KO'd, we would just lose right away, and there's not really any reason. And of course we can use the ability here, because he will most likely just promote another Inkay. But we get a water energy in the discard pile, which is good for Aqua Patch. And yeah, that's not a very eventful turn 1. But yeah, that's how it goes sometimes. And as you will see, this opponent's first turn is pretty good. 3 Malamar turn 2 is always what you want to see. But of course, as you can imagine, since you will see this game, or since you're seeing this game right now, he's not gonna win anytime soon, and this game is not just gonna end off of this, because thankfully he doesn't have absolutely everything, so we can at least play. Oh, another choice band. Who would have thought? That's yeah, nah, not what we want to see. Of course, this time we're not gonna use stability for 2 reasons. First of all, if Volcanic doesn't get KO'd, we can attack next turn, and we don't have to rely on top decking another energy. And second of all, we would just make it way too easy for him to just promote Ultronic Cosmo. So yeah, we just sit here and wait. Actually, what he's gonna do with this turn is pretty interesting, and also leads to multiple events that don't really benefit him too much, because as you will see, he just retreats into his Ultra Necrozma, into the fresh one, for no reason. He doesn't attack, and of course he saved his Malamar, but usually I wouldn't go for the Malamars anyways. I ideally just KO 3 GX EXs. I mean, just GX, because he doesn't play any EX. So yeah, this is just a free attack on Ultra Necrozma, and if he doesn't have Guzma or Dawnwings Necrozma, he can't even grab a KO onto Volcanic, because that's Ultra Necrozma with only 1 Psychic energy. So he would have to attach a manual Metal Energy active, and yeah, that's basically it. As you saw, I was able to draw Brooklyn last turn, so finally we have a Remoraid in play. So next turn, Octillery is gonna come into play. As we can see now, he didn't play N, he played Cynthia instead, so we keep the Octillery. And of course there wasn't any reason for him to use N in the first place, because I didn't do anything the last few turns. And I also was able to top deck a Guzma, which is exactly what I meant, because now I can just use Volcanion to grab the KO onto Necrozma. I could just Guzma, KO Necrozma, and I'm actually up in prices after, even though I had a very bad start and his start was very good. Aside from the fact that you missed the Metal Energy or the Beast Energy, but that's exactly my main concern with this version of Ultra Necrozma, because you always have to draw into a Metal Energy, and yeah, you don't have onboard draw, so you have to use your supporter and hope that you draw into Metal Energy. Whereas, for example, the straight Psychic version would just need, with this setup currently, they would have 3 Malama in play, and all they need is energies in discard, and then the attacker. They can always attach all the energies from the discard back to their bench. So yeah, that's why I personally think that the Psychic version is better. Maybe not a lot better, but definitely better. But yeah, our hand is looking way better than it used to do in the first few turns, because yeah, with 2 Elixir and Aqua Patch, it's very likely that we will be able to set up Lapras. And yeah, he will just go off the Volcanion here with his Ultra Necrozma, if he even hits the Metal Energy or the Beast Energy, so we can just grab a KO the turn after. He has the Metal Energy, he uses Letter Void, and yeah, that's slightly unfortunate because we don't have energies on board, so that means we definitely have to hit 2 Elixir or get another Aqua Patch to be able to attack with Lapras. Otherwise, we would just have to hit 1 Max Elixir, which isn't too tough with 2 in hand and a lot of energies in deck. Also, as you will see later, what I'm doing now was a slight misplay, promoting the Auxiliary instead of Manafi, but yeah, we will get to it at a later spot of the game again. Yeah, there I'm debating what to discard, but I'm just gonna discard the Choice Band and Guzma because Volcanion already put Necrozma in range for regular KO, so we don't even need Choice Band. So all we have to do now is hit 1 Max Elixir and then double Aqua Patch, attach Active. And fortunately enough, we managed to hit the Max Elixir. And we managed to hit another Max Elixir, which is pretty good. Hopefully we can draw into another Lapras to start powering this up as well. Yeah, then I'm not gonna use Aqua Patch to just attach to Manafi, as you can see, because we can just get another Lapras now. And keep in mind, I haven't even played a supporter this turn, so I can play this N as well. So that's like the kind of turns you want with this deck. Super explosive. I mean, I didn't have any energy on board, and now I have 6 on board. Just in one turn. And I haven't even placed my supporter card yet. So theoretically I could draw into even more Aqua Patches or Max Elixir. So that's what I really like about the deck. Yeah, there I just attach the Float Zone so we don't draw into it later because we just have Manafi on board anyways and energies everywhere, so it's very unlikely that we will have to draw into Float Zone later on. So it's fine to just attach it there. Also, we have a lot of Sycamores now in deck. Yeah, he grabs another Ultra Necrozma. And again, like, he has to draw into metal and to even stay in the game. Or, of course, Beast Energy also works, but in general, that's like, that's what I really dislike about the deck. You always have to draw into your Metal Energy. That's always like the case when you play decks with multiple energies. I remember back in the days, basically the same deck was Ray Eels, where you used Rayquaza EX, which basically did the same as Necrozma, but for 60 times instead of 80. And you had to use lightning and fire, and electric attached lightning energies, so you had to play fire and prism energies back in the day, so you always had to draw into them, and I really disliked the deck as well. And they will see that, yeah, I was like, okay, Psystorm, that's not going to do anything, but I thought it was just for his energies, but turns out it's for every energy in play. I mean, that's not really something I could have played around, because I want to have energies on board. I mean, of course, the auxiliary energy could be Float Zone instead, but in general. And there you can slightly start seeing why why attaching to auxiliary was a misplay. Because I put all the Malamas basically in range for a KO on Manafi, and now I have to take the KO on onto the guy, the Lunala. And if Lapras gets KO'd, even if this doesn't win him the game because he still has 3 prizes left, that means I don't have any energies on board for attacker. And since I have 7 energies, 2 Max Elixir and 1 Aqua Patch, yeah, it's gonna get a little bit tough to actually be able to close out the game, because if I KO him with Lapras now, and the turn after he KOs my Lapras, then I will have to attach to Manafi with Max Elixir or Aqua Patch, and also be able to Guzma. And that would obviously be a lot easier if, yeah, of course, there are also Mr. Max Elixir, that doesn't make any easier. And yeah, the auxiliary the energy that's attached to Octillery could just be on Manafi right now, so all I would need is an attachment and Guzma. Which, especially with cards like Lele and Ultra Ball still left in deck, isn't that much to ask for to get the Guzma. So actually the tough part is gonna be hitting the energy. Yeah, now I just Blizzard Burn. And yeah, if he has a Metal Energy or Beast Energy, he KOs the Lapras. I mean, see, if the energy would be to Manafi, I would have game in hand right now. But of course he could still end, which might happen here. Maybe. But yeah, but also something to keep in mind is that my start in general was super slow. So just that we ended up in this spot isn't too usual, because like, I mean, my first 2 top decks were 2 choice bands with nothing. Of course he also with this attack. But yeah, of course otherwise I would have just lost. That's just how the game works. Yeah, here I really disagree with his play, because even though I need Guzma anyways to be able to KO Malama, he could have just used, yeah, as you see, I pointed out in my initial commentary as well, he could just GX and deal 210, be safe. I mean, if he checks my discard, he knows I actually have 1 Max Elixir, 1 Aqua Patch and energies left, so I could KO this active Ultra Necrozma. But that wouldn't be possible if he would just, you know what. Huh? Yeah, now I have to chop deck a little bit. Even though there are plenty of outs actually. I mean, I have one Octillery, then I could join to Ultra Ball or another Octillery, and then I could also use, of course, Mesobola is gonna be Guzma, but yeah. Well, like, has to be Guzma in this case. Okay, there I'm debating to, whether or not to actually go for the Lapras, but I felt like it's more likely that I actually get just Aqua Patch or Max Elixir and then Guzma. So that's what I'm just going for. And yeah, as you can see, the first Octillery already gets this Aqua Patch and Guzma, but also Max Elixir, so theoretically if I would hit the Max Elixir, that would also be KO onto Ultra Necrozma. But yeah, I just decided to go for the Mew to punish him for benching this little guy, but yeah. That's going to be the first game, which had a very rough start, but turns out a turn where you put 6 energies in play is pretty good. The next game is actually going to be against quite an interesting deck, or not interesting, but uncommon. Let's say uncommon, which is Metagross, something that you don't really see anymore, mainly because it's just a bad deck. Let's be honest. So yeah, that's gonna be against Metagross. Starting hand is looking way better than in the last game, because we have supporters, we have Ultra Ball actually for the Water Energy right away and Aqua Patch. And as you will see at the beginning of my turn, this hand actually gets even better, which is always nice. Also, the second guy that has a natural vision in hand, by the way, in a deck that usually only plays 1. And yeah, in that second you will see that it's indeed Metagross. Getting some Tunnel. I was gonna say the German name actually, but no, it's Beldam. And yeah, actually 2 Aqua Patches, which turns out is pretty good if you have 2 Water Energy in hand already. Yeah, we're just gonna discard both Water Energies right there, grab a Lapras. Yeah, I was debating to grab Volcanion, but I felt like it's better to just go for the KO to Lele instead of going for spread, because we would actually have to spread 3 times to set up Metagrosses for KOs, which of course is possible, but yeah, not really what we want to go for. And yeah, we actually drew the cards to be able to KO the Lele turn 1. I tried to figure out first what's like the best kind of play, if we could actually like retreat an Aqua Patch, but of course it's impossible because we can only Aqua Patch to the bench. And I'm also debating whether or not to go for Manafi or Volcanion. What am I gonna take? The struggle. Yeah, I actually just went for another Lapras because, of course, Manafi would allow me to freely retreat, but that would just save me an energy on my Remoraid. But if I retreat the Remoraid, I could just Aqua Patch to the other Lapras, so that's what I'm gonna go for. Yeah, of course, Volcanion didn't make any sense at all because I wasn't going to discard any energies, and I'm already down 3 Aqua Patches now, so Volcanion in general for his ability is not that valuable anymore because he's only able to fuel 1 more Aqua Patch. So yeah, just went for Lapras to start powering up. Yeah, and of course going for Remoraid doesn't make any sense if I already have 1 in play. Yeah, the general game plan for this matchup is just gonna be to KO 2 more non-EX, like Beldams or Metangs. And yeah, then the last prize is gonna be 1 Metagross. Because dealing with 2 Metagross isn't really worth, because you would need 2 turns anyways, and of course if you would have the choice to like 2-shot a Metagross or KO 2 Vulpix, for example, then you would always go for the Metagross because Vulpix doesn't do anything. But KO and Beldams actually prevents him from getting out like a lot of Metagross, which makes it a lot tougher when we try to take on the last Metagross to actually be able to come out from the situation, because ideally we are just gonna KO a Beldam or Metang and another Metang or Beldam, whatever, and yeah, then he in the meantime might be able to KO some Lapras, get some prizes, and then last turn, or second to last turn basically, we GX with Lapras, so we paralyze the Metagross so he can't just retreat and then attach to another Metagross with the ability. And then we actually N in addition to it, N him to a low hand size. I mean, if we don't N him to a low hand size, that means he doesn't draw a lot of prizes, so we win anyways. So yeah, to even close out the game, we just N him to a low hand size, paralyze him, so then he would have to draw way too many cards to actually be able to win the game, because he would have to have a lot of energies in this card, which this deck usually doesn't have unless they retreat a Metagross. And he also needs Guzma to even be able to deal with a Lapras, because spoiler alert, he plays Kukui, but actually having the retreat, which of course he can't have because he can't retreat, so he needs Guzma, so he can't just push his damage by using the anchor guy, so he has to use Kukui, which yeah, he can't because he already played Guzma. So yeah, he needs the Guzma to switch. He needs energies, or energies in discard, energies in hand, whatever, to attach to another Metagross, and he actually needs enough Metagross in play to be able to fuel the Metagross. So if he, for example, end into 2 or 3, it's very unlikely that he actually gets everything. So yeah, here I'm debating whether or not I actually use Lele for Guzma, but turns out I don't even have Lele in my deck. Yeah, but since I already used my attack last turn, I will have to grab a Manafi at a later spot as well. But I actually decide to go for the Volcanion. And this is just gonna grab me the Artillery. And the problem with going for Manafi of course, is that yeah, I don't have another Lapras, so I decided to go for Volcanion, force him to switch, because it was pretty obvious that he is not going to promote Metagross. So all I had to draw into was the fuel for another Lapras. So elixirs and aqua patches and stuff. So there I was actually debating to maybe attach to Volcanion and start spreading, but that was the point basically when I finally decided, okay, that's just not worth to attack so many times just to be able to put Metagross in one-shot range. And of course, this deck in a lot of cases even plays Max Potion, so imagine spreading twice for not a lot of value, unless of course you can KO Beldams and Metax in the meantime, and then he just makes elixirs. So that's not really worth. And unfortunately I missed the attack, so I'm just gonna collect here. Which, considering the board position, isn't too bad, because he doesn't really have a lot of energies in this card. If I'm not mistaken, he doesn't even have any at all. Only has one Metagross in play, so yeah. He would have to get Metagross, either another Metagross or... yeah, of course, no, he needs another Metagross because he actually needs the active one. Of course, he can retreat into the one with an energy. But that also means he needs energies, and also has to have energies in the discard pile. And of course Kukui to even get the one shot. So it's way too much to ask for, so I'm not minding losing this turn too much. Of course it would have been nice to take the Beldam last turn, because that would mean I would be... I mean I lost one turn, so there's no real way to yeah, make it sound good, because I lost the turn. Because I didn't take a prize, and I especially lost the turn because he ended me anyway, so my attack didn't even do anything. So yeah, that's definitely a turn I lost, so yeah. But that's still fine, because we're still in a very good spot to just win the game. Yeah, as you can see, now that I clicked on the discard, he doesn't have any metal energy in discard. So even if he would have had another Metagross, he couldn't even attack, so all good. Yeah, no, he's just... That's pretty annoying actually. That's gonna be actually irrelevant in the later spot of the game, that he is able to deal 20 here, because that puts Lapras in one-shot range with just a choice band. And that's a Lapras that already has 2 water energies, so these 2 water energies I most likely will never use to actually attack. Yeah, then I'm debating whether or not it's actually worth to go for the Guzma. So I'm just gonna Abyss Land first, because I'm not gonna Sigma anyways. So there's no downside in just using Abyss Land first, just to make sure we have the place we need. And of course, the Beldam is active. I have Manafi, so why would I Guzma? So yeah, just keeping our Guzmas, using Blizzard Burn, taking the KO. Getting Lele in the deck, which is pretty nice for the game plan I told you a few minutes ago about the N plan in the late game, because it's just a searchable N, which is always good. Like for example, at the current spot, if he KOs Lapras, then I could just Lele for N, and then all I need is the water energy. I could attack with Lapras. Yeah, as you can see, it's yeah. Now it's hurt. I mean, it's not hurting me right now that the Lapras is in one-shot range, but that just means after he KOs the Manafi now, that I just have another free prize on my bench, and it's 2 free prizes. Usually you have Manafi, of course, it's 1, but Lapras isn't supposed to be a free prize, so... And also I lose my Manafi. Thankfully, I mean, that's also another case where Floatstone is very good, because Floatstone just is still in play. I don't have to bench another Manafi, giving another 2 free prizes to him. There was talking about the end play. But, I mean, yeah, I promote the Lapras because I'm gonna Guzma this turn, for sure. Because, of course I could N, but I would N him to 4, and it's too much for my taste. So I figured I'm just gonna bench another Remoraid, setting up for maybe multiple auxiliaries at a later spot, and just force him to KO another Lapras, and after he KO'd another Lapras, then I'm just gonna N him. And yeah, as you can see now, I have 2 Lapras with 2 energies, and the next turn is gonna come down whether or not I hit the energy. And that's what I was talking about when I talked about the 20 damage that will come in, yeah, very, very useful for him, because, yeah, the energy I attached last turn to the other Lapras would, of course, be at the undamaged Lapras with 2 energies if it didn't have 20. So definitely good for him to use Beldam's attack there to deal a little bit of damage to Lapras. And yeah, there you see, he plays Kukui, so he will just Kukui Choice Band for the KO. And yeah, in general, my hand looks pretty good for the current spot, but yeah. Turns out, sometimes it's not that easy to hit a water energy. So yeah, I don't even have to Lele for N here. But I should have definitely Leled regardless. Because as you could see, I still have supporters in my deck. And that would have helped me thin out. Because I didn't really pay attention to my energy count. And I only have 3 energies left in deck now. Of course I have 5 in general. But my last 2 prizes are 2 energies. So if I would have paid attention. I mean, of course you see, okay, I have 5 in my discard. 4 in play, should be plenty of energies left, but now, as you will see, yeah, only 3 in deck, 2 prized, so I should have then used later for Cynthia last turn, so that hitting the max elixir would have been more likely. But yeah, as I said, I benched Remoraid just for this situation, because I can just evolve into Auxiliary again, play down all the choice bands, and then Auxiliary again. I have 4 outs in deck, 3 energies, 1 Aqua Patch, just have to draw one of them. And yeah, that's the Aqua Patch. So yeah, we end him to 2, we're just gonna paralyze the Metagross, so that's definitely not the spot he wants to be in. Also, theoretically, I should have used the other Lapras, because now if he has energy in discard, and Guzma Choice Band, then he could win, but that would require him to have something like a super insane Oranguru play, and yeah, like for example Ultra Ball, away Metal Energy for Oranguru, and then Oranguru into Choice Band and another energy and a Guzma. So I mean that's just so unlikely that yeah, I didn't pay attention to it. But of course that would have been an option to play around, because we didn't know for sure that he doesn't play Oranguru. But yeah, there we just Blizzard Burn for the KO, and as you could see, yeah, last 2 water energies. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the game, and I will see you next time. And don't forget to check out Robin's article in the description below.